Alright, so today we got a Roger Dubuis Chronograph Caliber RD 56. Complete overhaul, no parts needed. It was running fine, just had low amplitude. So let's get this bad boy taken apart. And see if we can't get that amplitude up a little higher and running. One of the things I like to do myself is instead of taking things apart, putting them in a container, and then finding a cleaning basket, I actually like to do the cleaning straight into the basket and inspect every single part as I take it off. Try and keep stuff grouped together, make sure everything's flat, level when I'm taking it off, teeth are all there, it's round, it's concentric. I already took the dial and hands off yesterday. I look for any kind of wear anywhere, any scratches, anything that might be out of round, any odd patterns. As you can see, it's a very, very finely decorated movement. These are all double Geneva seal, I believe, if not single, at least a single Geneva seal. The stuff Mr. Dubuis makes is very, very nice looking. It's not necessarily that it is complicated, but it is always beautiful. Well finished and very, very nicely made. I don't have the world's best cleaning machine. Unfortunately, I have what is considered a fairly poor one, but I make do with what I have. Wish I had a nice ultrasonic cleaner. There's almost all the winding and setting except for the setting lever itself, which is screwed in. I'll take that out in a minute. We still have the cannon pinion. I already took off the hour wheel, and then I'm going to take off the cap jewel on this side. Taking off the cannon pinion, you want to make sure that you're in a position so that you're not hitting either of the minute counter or the second counter in this case, I believe. Yes, this one has a minute counter and a second counter. There's no hour counter on this one. So as you can see, I put stuff in one basket now, one portion of the basket now, I'll go to the next one. After I take and remove the capsule. The important things to remember when you're doing capsules is to make sure that you have something, because sometimes these springs will fly depending on the type of insetting used. Pressure on the springs is pretty strong. Slide it over here and see a little bit better. I'm going to use these new nickel tweezers I just got. I get them out of the case. You want something with a very, very sharp point that's not going to scratch or mar the metal. Yeah, baby's in there nice and tight. You can't see exactly how tight it is. And once I have it open, I come in with a touch of radical, take that bad boy right on out. I don't bother with separating it. It will get separated up in the wash and into the special plastic basket I use for cap jewels, escape wheels, power fork, and the reverser wheels if I'm doing an automatic. I just want to make sure you close this spring up. Not only does it keep it in there, but it also makes sure that it doesn't come out in the wash. Alright. Flip this bad boy over. Once I've done the dial side, the first thing I always do is take off the bands. Sometimes I actually do that even before I take it out of the watch. You may notice that I'm using beryllium screwdrivers. Anytime I've got a high grade watch like this, I want to make sure I'm not leaving any marks. Should be nobody should even be able to tell I was ever in there. Sort of my own little CSI Miami. You don't know I'm there, you don't know I did it. You can see everything I use is brass, bronze, beryllium. I try and utilize steel as little as possible. The reason for that is that steel scratches everything. Brass will scratch as well, so will bronze, so will plastic. I try and make sure that I use steel as sparingly as possible. So I put the bounce off to the side. Since it's an Inca block setting, it's something that I will take and put back in before I wash. So now what I'm doing is I'm taking a look. Second time I've taken one of these apart, so I want to go somewhat slowly to make sure I'm putting everything back into place where it belongs. Tighten down the dial screws from the dial I took off yesterday. There's one of the drawbacks, is the phone that keeps going on and off and on and off. One thing I do notice looking at this, and I noticed it yesterday too, is that the depthing between the chronograph driving wheel and the coupling clutch here is very deep. Deep enough that that is something that's going to need to be adjusted. Which also may mean that the coupling clutch to the chrono runner itself might be adjusted. There's that beautiful Geneva seal. You can see that all the time. On the super high grade watches, maybe special can time. Wrong side screwdriver, go to mix one down, which is red. Same thing, make sure we got a good tight fit. And I know the power's already let down, so I'm not going to worry about that too much. Normally, well, you always let the power down when you're taking it apart. Otherwise, when you take out the pallet fork, you have a nasty chance of chipping the stone because it will actually come flying out. And it shouldn't. It's just about one rotation, just about where you would want it. Now there's a number of things I'm checking here as I go along. I was checking the pivots there, checking the pallet stone itself. You didn't see, but I checked the end shake of the bounce before I took that out. Now I'm double checking the stones to make sure there's no chips. I can see a nice line of oil. Nice line of oil on them. You can't see that without a microscope. I've got mine on, so it makes a difference. Now I go in and I'm checking. What I do is I check the shake on all the other wheels. I look for a little bit of. And this is steel, so I haven't found them in brass or bronze small enough here. I'm checking for the minute movements here. This already has the stop lever on. I take the pressure off. There has to be a certain amount of, every wheel has to have a little bit of shake. It's got to have a little bit of up and down movement progressively from the beginning of the train to the end of the train. what that does is just allows that little bit of freedom. If stuff is too tight, like here, where maybe I'll be able to get a close-up later on, you can see how tight that is. That doesn't, it really doesn't give it much freedom. You don't want it real loose, but you definitely don't want it that tight. Typical is one-third, two-thirds, where it's one-third here at the driving and the coupling, and two-thirds here at the, I'm sorry, two-thirds at the driving to the coupling, and then one-third from the coupling to the chronograph driver rudder. So now that we've got that set, this wheel, the driving wheel for the chronograph, is friction fit on here. So what we're going to do is we're going to take that off, but first I'm going to take off this coupling clutch. And there's a reason for that, because if I pull this wheel off and I do anything, it could harm that wheel as well. So first thing, take a look, there's a spring here, it comes up to here. This spring needs to come off, because that's applying tension. Springs held down with two screws. Pop in here. And you'll see that I'm putting the screws right into the baskets because the screws are large enough. Every now and then I do have a watch where the screws are small, and in that case I use another small basket like this one to put them in. So that is our spring, and you can see how finely it's made. Jeez, it's gorgeous. That goes right in there. I don't have to worry with this basket about springs in there. And actually, since I'm looking at this, nah, I'm going to wait till I have it together to adjust the depthing. I'd rather have it when everything's there. So take that one off. Special screw that allows it to move that little bit back and forth. This is an eccentric screw which also acts as a post here. And one on the coupling clutch. This wheel should spin freely. I would take this apart, but I wanted to clean up in the washroom, so I'm going to leave that in there. Now you can see that this wheel is free. And I have freedom all the way around it to take it off on my specialized hand pullers for that. Okay, I got specialized pullers. Two on one side, one piece on the other. Comes down and pulls that off, but because it is such a nicely decorated plate, what I like to do is take and slide something in there so that even though I'm actually coming in on the plate, even though the tool I'm using is highly polished so that it doesn't scratch that plate, I still want something underneath there. Something that says, yeah, I was in here, but I cared so much about leaving marks that I made sure I was super careful. And then straight up, no marks, no problem, never even know I was in there. And again, same thing, we're looking at this wheel, we're checking to make sure it's flat, it's level. There's nothing funky with the teeth, nothing's been broken off, everything looks good, no specific wear patterns, anything along those lines, nothing out of the ordinary, and it goes straight into the basket. Okay. And then I can take a look and see. Every single chronograph is different. This one's there's just no getting around it. The guy did a bang up job on these, and they're absolutely gorgeous. Now this is the hammer. Resets the watch back to 0. That's it in the open position. You press here and it shuts. It's your start. The spring took off. We'll allow it to stop there, and then we reset to 0. It's here. And actually manually reset it here. Because what I want to do, it's in the stop position, and then it's reset to 0. You can see where this spring comes along, goes. I've got another spring here which allows the brake to operate properly. It's from down here for the minute counter. What I'm trying to do is make sure that when I take the hammer off, put it back in gear here, start, make sure that when I take the hammer off that the spring does not get bent, and it actually looks as though that spring would probably bend with it. So we follow along. Here's the spring for the brake. And we'll start taking the wheels off now. Make sure that screwdriver's in there nice and tight, because you don't want stuff flying along and you don't want to lose stuff. So bang, that comes out. We already checked the shake on both these. Careful, Mr. Dubuis man. Certainly don't want to besmirch or put a scratch on that bad boy. Take it off, check the bridge. Now the bridge is flat. Now it's pressing. One of the drawbacks that I see to when I'm doing these fine grade movements is not having this basket, parts basket. It's a solid plastic one. One of the places I did work at, we actually did have solid special baskets that were made of neoprene style plastic that they were very, very nice. And they were I believe provided to us by FP. Okay, now that hammer does not come far enough back, and it goes forward to hit here, but it doesn't come enough I can take this wheel out without possibly hurting the teeth on it. So I'm going to start heading back this way. Alright. Looking to see where we can and cannot take things off. And since this spring is applying tension this way, I should be able to come in here, ease the tension on the hammer, or ease the tension off of the hammer. Strong tension. Well, I think what we're going to do then, since we've only done this one time before, we're actually going to loosen this spring. Now, voila. Too much of a point on my screwdriver. I'm going to take it, shave it down a bit. A little flatter, a little bit wider. Still get a good edge. One of the drawbacks to using the beryllium, unfortunately, is it's also quite soft.
Line 1. Mazda, line 1, please.
So, yeah, I took too much off. Tight fit, hopefully it's not no, that was too small. So you can see that little piece of beryllium right there where the tip actually came off. And occasionally that will happen if the screw is in there tight. So in that case, I carefully go in with the steel screwdriver. What I'll do is I'll use that steel one to get her started. I can always see the spring from the brake getting ready to shoot that screw, so get in there with the screwdriver and finish up the last little bit. Now I'm going to put that screw right here because I'm not sure where I'm going with this in the basket just yet. So now what I'm going to do, with no tension, I know that you can see here the release is right here, release bolt. It's not letting it go, which means there's no tension on it. It should mean then I'll be able to take that off as soon as I take off the column wheel. So back over there, that screwdriver is dead for right now. I mind having a much larger desk. This is the super old school way of watch repair, not the nouveau school where you have nice desks and equipment and everything else. So you can see this is just a screw popped in there. Interesting, in the last one the screw came out. This one, it does look like it's, yeah, nice good thick head on that screw. So we're going to stay in this one basket with that. Not forgetting I've still got that screw here for the spring. So we should be able, here we go. Up with the hammer. Man, that's beautiful. I guess you refer to it as a staghorn. It's much like the Omega 1861. I do see one issue here that, yeah, there's oil, a little bit of oil on the side there. Makes it, you can see the finely chamfered edge, but there's a little oil on the side there that made it look like it was, may have been malformed. Screw spring has a post on it. So I've got this one which I'm going to take off so I can get to that one and make sure my screws all stay in the same basket, in the same area. Try and keep stuff matched up for a reason. But you can see how finely thin that is. Now, since I don't have an agitating washer, I can put that in here because all it's going to do is go to the far outer reaches when it's spinning. So now we've got this screw. This has got two posts on the bottom. That's why I couldn't lift it up over the top of the one that I just took off. The brake spring. Alright, so now chrono runner comes out. Nice, it's straight, flat, part looks good, pointer looks good. Slide that up here in the basket. Always put the wheels in the basket with the longest pinion up. You don't want it down because if it hits something it'll wind up breaking. Now we should be able to, let's see, take this off, take the minute coupler, minute runner off, let me see, sometimes they have springs that are mounted on something, sometimes they've got them where they're just hooked in. This spring actually looks like it sits on a plate. It's in there, almost like Okay, so we tried taking that out one time before. Okay. So minute jumper spring, we're good on that. We'll take that one out. This one we can leave in. As it rotates, we can leave that one in if that's no problem. Take this off, take the pressure spring there off. This was start, stop, turn to zeros. This basket's a little bit oversized screwdriver for that screw head, but I'm okay with that. The special thing about this is we cannot lose any parts for it because parts are not available. Roger Dubuis does not provide parts to independent watchmakers. Most of the manufacturers are all pretty much the same way. So, you have to be very careful, very cognizant, especially when working on manufacturing movements. This is made by Roger Dubuis in Geneva. All the parts are made by them, manufactured by them. I don't think they're making jewels and hairsprings, but everything else is made by them. Interesting, it's a very short screw for a very powerful spring. But, and a sexy looking chrome column right there. That is pretty. That goes in, and which leaves us with the stem bolt for release. That's what a Megan calls it. I just call it zero bolt, stem bolt. And that bad boy pops, and pop that in the hole. We need to take that spring off, leaving the jumper spring on, and we have to adjust for this. Get that screw out. Screw is going to hold this, and we can take that out if we want to when that plate comes off. Click, which is in here, I noticed a little bit of debris in here. I have to take a look. It almost looks like the click is so low, and the plate right here I see a little bit of brass, so we may have to adjust that click spring, just lift it up a hair. This here, I really don't want to take that spring off. Slide that in, slide it back, just like that. Nice and round and flat. Pop that in the hole. We know this one's staying on. That one's moving out of line. Alright, so that's the entire chronograph mechanism on this bad boy. So I'm going to slide this basket back. That one's set. Alright, now get off the escape wheel bridge. These are nickel tweezers, they're not steel, just in case people are wondering. Bridges are put on. So somewhat tight, not too bad, but if I was using steel here, I would have scratched everything to oblivion. So once I get it up a little bit, be very careful with them. You don't want to, because you got that escape wheel pivot there, you certainly do not want to do any harm to that. Of course, that may be part of the reason I put them on so hard too. There we go. Get that off. We have a nice little sexy escape wheel there. And I am going to put this in. I'm going to slide that one into here. And screw for it. Now the escape wheel, of course, is going to go in the super small parts basket. I can't afford that. Have a problem with the pivot on that. And now the rest of the watch is just your typical watch. You got a barrel, center wheel, second wheel, fourth wheel, escape wheel. Again, just double checking how much shake I have there. Shake or gap, whichever you like to refer to it as. Swiss refer to it as gap. I refer to it as shake or gap. Just depending on where I'm at and stuff. See how nice, that's a nice screw right there. That is just perfect. And you can put it in and actually pull the screw out with it. Means that you have it not too tight and not too loose. Now here, I'm going to do, loosen that screw, bring it up slowly. Slide that spring out of the way. Just slide it out of the way, not bend it. These fine springs are very, very difficult to shape and form. 1, 2, 3 screws. I believe that's all. This one, I don't think that is holding my plate on. I remember last time, I think I only had 3 screws. What you don't want to do is have a screw in when you're trying to take a plate off. Look at that, it's beautiful. Beautiful. Man, that is just, that's class, that's what it is. Difference between class and mass production. I mean, these are not mass produced, but they're produced. I'll say limited quantity. But they are absolutely stunning. Same thing here. I'm checking the pivots for round, flat. Seeing if there's any wear anywhere on the wheel. All the teeth are there. Nothing's jammed. Part of the reason I was worried about that little bit of debris here on the good. That pivot came out nice and straight. Put them there sideways like that. That way I don't have it in between. This is a very light or non-existent oil on this. This bad boy here. Here's the stem bolt for release. That will just pop right out. And as well. And there's that little bit of debris here. I was hoping that's I wasn't looking at rust. If you're looking at rust, then it can be a problem. Then I could be all the way in here and have to put it all back together and send it off to Dubuis because I have no parts. Alright. It's looking good on the ratchet wheel, looks good. I like the design on the other side. Nice. Teeth are a little slightly polished, that's nice. But here's what I do notice. I can see this ring right here. Now that only goes around part of it. And you can see it faintly on this half, but you can see it definitely there. Now that, to me that says that something happened when it was going around. It was either tilted this way, or maybe it happened on that side, it was tilted here, but I didn't notice anything on the back of the ratchet wheel. We'll pull this back out and take a look. I mean, you've got circular pattern, but it's not, this isn't as nicely finished on this side, obviously, as it is on that side. So there could be a burr or something on here. One easy way to find that out, just sort of drag your screwdriver. You know it's going to be, I mean, what area it's going to be up here. But sometimes a tooth won't be quite as finely formed as what they thought. And it's really something that only happens after the watch is put together. I don't feel anything, so we'll take a look again once that's washed, just to make sure. But basically, that's everything off of the watch. Just we're going to see, make sure there's not anything else that's going to come off, pop off, surprise me, anything like that. That's an eccentric screw. That's your 2 dial feet screw. And that, everything looks good in it. I'm not seeing any wear pattern in the bottom here, so if the mainspring barrel is in and it was tilting this way, there would be wear down there to coincide with the wear up here, or if it was tilting this way, vice versa, it'd be the same thing. But since I'm not seeing anything at all on the bottom here, flip it over, I don't see anything on that beautiful starburst pattern there. I'm going to say we are perfectly fine with that. So, what I'm going to do next is this. Hopefully will fit. Let's just try it the other way. So we want to fit this into the basket without doing any harm. And actually, I don't know what I'm thinking, but I'm going to put it in there. First, I'm going to take, before I put any pressure on it, make sure what I get going on this side. I don't want to be pushing down on something and wind up breaking something. Got the crown wheel here. We'll pop that off. I don't see any wear on that, no wear on the plate. So, I always leave the click in. If I feel it's rough, I can always take that out and oil it at another step in the process. That's it. Crown wheel cord, 2 screws, and the crown wheel. Alright, so that's done. Now we're coming back in with our bounce.
Maxine, line 1 for Albert. Maxine, line 1 for Albert.
Put this bad boy back in carefully. You don't get a second chance on the bounce. Ever. Alright, it's in there. I know it's in the lower hole. It's in the upper hole. Looking good. It does look like at some point somebody did take this apart. See a few scratches here on the side. Place this back here and down. Then we're going to take that other shaft jewel out. And while I've got it in here, I also notice it's a little off on the pointer here. So